Danneh here, back with another New World video. Today, we are going to go in our top 5 things that we want to see in New World in 2022. Obviously, it's the very beginning of the year, so Danneh, we're expecting to see all these things added to the game, by this time next year. Well, yeah, next year. So, Danneh, we kind of cheated a little bit. We do have an honorable mention. What is the honorable mention for the list?
So the one thing that I think we both like to see, and maybe hopefully you guys like to see as well, is bringing naval combat to New World, whether that is in the form of some trade ships or some Viking ships and pirate ships. You know, we have Dynasty Shipyard in the game already. I have this dream that's turned into a place where you can actually build a boat, have a trade skill, become Floki from Vikings, and build some boats and use them in New World. So it's a bit of a far-fetched one, but I would love to see that come to New World at some point. Who knows when, but that would be fantastic.
Imagine the leader of pirate gaming wanting pirate content in New World.
Yeah, who would have thought it?
Yeah, it's a stretch. But yeah, obviously there's a ton of room for this, like in the lore, even like us being kind of colonial people or whatever you want to call it, explorers. We came by ship. It'd be cool maybe if there was some sort of way to incorporate some sort of naval content in the game. I think fishing off of ships would be sick eventually.
Yeah.
Obviously, Black Desert Online does that really well. Is like that open sea content where you can fish for massive monsters and stuff like that. That would be cool. Combat, even just like you had mentioned before we recorded this, even like some mini boats to go down the rivers and stuff, I think would be pretty cool. Maybe trade routes kind of tie into this as well.
It'd be brilliant. We chatted about it a few times on stream, and people said, well, we're shipwrecked on an island, so we can't have boats because we'll just get off the island. I was like, that's a fair point, but maybe the further out you go, there's bad weather and you can't sail that far or something like that. Build it into the story a bit rather than just this big yellow magical force field we have at the moment. It would be nice to kind of, I don't know, feel a bit more immersed.
Maybe even swimming, if we're being honest. New World, maybe we would like to not die every time we walk into water, but it's your call. We're open to not dying in water, but naval content would still be dope. For number 5, our top 5 is inventory management on number 5. Right now, the game is just, it just seems like for some reason, Danneh, every time I log in, I spend at least an hour of my stream managing my inventory. Whether it's like moving stuff from storage to storage, like when I get done with an activity, I have to go to 4 different towns. I have to fast travel to 4 different towns to make sure it's all divided up to where it's supposed to be. Switching gear, everything like that. It is a little bit more cumbersome than I think it needs to be. I'm not sure how much it actually adds to the game at this point, having to manage these storage, things. BDLG's made a great point, as we've talked about this earlier, is like, maybe at a certain territory standing, you have an option to kind of tie your storage to another territory of the same standing. So maybe if you hit territory standing 40 in Everfall and Ebonscale, then you can choose to tie those 2 storages together. I think that's a pretty cool idea. One of the things that we thought about before the show was having your tent as a paper doll type of thing. So like you pop up your tent, and then and one of the options inside of the tent is to equip whatever gear set that you want to do for that certain occasion. So you have it in your storages across the world of Eternum, but when you pull up your tent, you have an option to equip whatever gear you have in any storage to where you can equip your lumberjacking when you're woodworking or what have you. And then of course you reduce that, I guess one of the things that is kind of like I've had kind of fallen victim to in the past is I have 5 or 6 gear sets on me, but then I have I get in a bad pub run of Genesis and then I die a couple times, and then I literally have to repair every piece of inventory in my day. So I don't know. I think the game could definitely benefit from some inventory management features.
Yeah, for sure.
Danneh, tell us about number 4.
Number 4 is company quality of life features. You guys that know me will know I run a relatively big-sized company on EU, and we're constantly running into things that we would like to see. And hopefully, a lot of you guys would want to see too. So a couple of things off the top of my head. One would be, when you're popping money in the company's a bank, you can see who's putting in, who's taking out. That would be kind of cool. It would kind of bring the clan together, and you can work on goals, you know, whether that's getting 15,000 to go declare war or whatever the scenario may be. I'd love to see company storage within a company house. Not too much too soon, but yeah, company storage I think would be fantastic, and it would be great to work on a house together. You know, you could all, maybe the town hall or the tavern or whatever it be, as long as you own the territory, and you could then have storage within that. I don't know how the system would work, but it'd be great to have a shared storage space with people that you're playing with and be able to work together a bit more on that. Yeah.
One of the interesting things right now with companies is, you know, having the companies be such a big part of New World, but it does feel like the company like support is like forgotten. Like, you know what I mean? Like a company is owning a company to own territories is important, to, you know, be part of invasions, you know, to kind of identify yourself as a member of a company through your emblem. These are all very big things in the game, but you know, quality of life things for the companies, such as like, you know, a company bank, or, you know, eventually I'd love to see company housing, like you said. That's kind of overlooked, and I would assume that they have some plans for support or like further support of companies in the future.
Yeah, but potentially even down to the smallest. I say smallest. I don't know how hard this is to implement, to be honest. But, you know, being able to select what permissions someone has. So at the moment we have, you know, your governor, your consul, your officers, your members. They're all set permissions. You know, it'd be nice to be able to, you know, let officers take out of the bank as much as they want, or, you know, select the permissions you want rather than have a set selection. Little things like that, which looks little. I don't know how hard it is, simply like I said, but things like that would be great, and just gives a bit more kind of customization for your companies and helps you look after your members a bit better. Things like this would be great. Yeah, I briefly mentioned to you before we started recording, Red, and from my point of view, I'd like to see a system where at the moment with the companies, if you're a 200, 300 man company, you just make more than one. Sometimes even if you're a 100 man company, you have 3 companies, and you declare war in 3 different towns, and you have 3 different timers. Potentially some good quality of life features, if they were to either extend or, you know, increase the limit or have no limit on companies. Yes, it may create some, for a better term, some Zerg clans, but that is a potential, but they're going to happen anyway. What I think would be great is to see company quality of life features bring people together, which means, you know, I don't want to be in a separate company just to hold a territory. I want to be within my company so I can do the you know, go into the company house and company storage and work together with my team, rather than being the outcast that's just the guy that holds Morningdale for the sake of holding Morningdale. Maybe that'll bring people together and stop these multiple clans, which means, you know, if someone wants to hold 5 territories, that's great, but they have to defend all 5 at the same time, which will make it harder for them, but also exciting for the smaller companies. Who knows? There's just a bit of things we've been thinking about.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because it does seem like the limitation to companies is more like a hindrance than it needs to be, because really, like, players have found a way around it, like you said. You know, they're just like, you know, Pirate Gaming 1, Pirate Gaming 2, and Pirate Gaming 1 keeps the timer for Windsward set at a different time than Everfall. And Pirate Gaming 2, that's basically what people are using the 2 companies for. It really isn't creating like oh, you can only have 100 people. It basically just creates okay, well, here's the workaround, and it makes, like you said, it can sometimes isolate players, because now they don't get to be in the main company, because they're in the secondary company doing this. And I guess that can be something that, I get, you know, a player problem that players have created. But at the same time, like, if players are finding a workaround for this, I feel like it is something that you would really, you know, I think maybe need to look at as New World. Because, you know, obviously, I think, I don't know if there's any reason why, instead of having 2 or 3 100-man companies, which people are already doing, why not increase the you know, the roster to a larger size? I feel like, you know, in the end, I don't know if there's much difference, you know.
Just last thing on top of it, I guess. I know there'll be people watching and be like, yeah, but people can have mega zergs and stuff, and that'll come on to one of our next points. But I'll tell you, one of the greatest parts of PvP that we've been having is taking a 15-man group and fighting a 40-man group. It is the most fun I have in New World at the moment. So
Zerg busting.
If Zerg busting, man, if they're a thing on your server, they're normally less organized, and you can normally kick some butt. So don't be afraid of the bigger clans, because there's pros and cons. But yeah, it's good fun.
Absolutely. And then that kind of ties into another thing we're going to talk about in a future ranking. But number 3, dude, is the ranked arena system. So this is important, Danneh, I think, because you look at games like World of Warcraft, like I guess in a different stream of things like League of Legends. Those competitive games with ranking systems and ways for players and groups of people to progress up, in their PvP skill, or feel like they're progressing in their PvP skill. It creates competitiveness. Obviously it forces the hand in balancing classes and weapons and stuff when you have a ranked system, because it's like, well, we see this is all over the platinum and diamond, like the higher ranked things. This is a real issue. We need to balance this. I always think that a competitive environment in a game is really good for the entire player base, because it does usually prompt better balance and everything like that, dude. So what do you think, man? Number 3 on the list, ranked arenas.
Absolutely. So a few games I played before New World. I'm not very good at them, but I played them. Rocket League, Apex Legends, like you mentioned as well, in WoW and stuff. But across any game genre, if you have that kind of ranking or that competitiveness, then it creates that feeling of wanting to come back and do better and try harder. Yeah. And at the moment, people are creating 1v1 tournaments, 2v2 tournaments and stuff, and it's really fun. But actually being able to prove yourself, on the field of 50 versus 50, that's cool. You take a territory, you earn some money from taxes and all that stuff, and that's great. But on a smaller scale, I'd love to see anywhere from 1v1s right up to 10v10s. It would be fantastic. The other night we had a little 10v10 scrim in a fort, and it was fantastic. There's so much variety there. So going up that, if there was the ability to have a few different sized smaller scale arenas, then that would be, I was always against it, but I think it would be fantastic. If you are really competitive, you can then start to rank against other players. I think it would be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I think we briefly touched on it in one of the previous episodes. I'd love to be able to see something like this come into the open world. I don't know, on a cliff somewhere, there's an arena, like a Colosseum, as we spoke about, building it into the current world. So it's not just like you go to the faction guy, ding, you end up in a random arena somewhere else. It would be super cool if it was built into the world and continuing that New World immersion. So yeah, I think it would be hugely beneficial to the game if they could bring something ranked out, for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, it brings the concept of improvement, obviously, with ranked systems. And overall, I think the game just has room for a smaller scale, organized PvP, gameplay mode. They've already mentioned that they are bringing something like arenas to the game, and obviously, I think one of the most important parts of that is a ranked system. And we're gonna tie a little bit. Why don't we just jump into here, dude, with number 2, because this kind of ties in there. Dude, what about cross, an arena system that not only just is the people in your server, but maybe across multiple servers. But we'll talk a little bit more about that, I guess, in the latter part of the video. Why don't you tell us about number 2?
Optimization. I guess from my experience, we've been doing wars since alpha, beta, a preview. We were looking at when that was earlier, and now in the live game, anything with a large amount of people, what we're tending to see is anything above 70 plus tends to just result in lag, movement bugs, all sorts of things. And we had someone turn into an ice tomb the other day, and they were running around in a war, and it's like, what is going on? So I think just in general, optimization for me for the large scale combat, because it is such an awesome part of the game that really is lacking. You know, we had a big clash with a big clan on our server up in Murgard, and there must have been 200 of us. It was mega. It was so much fun. But when everyone started to come together, just resulted in this stuttering, this lag, this, you know, it was still enjoyable because it was absolute carnage. But if people were moving, if people were able to cast their skills, and I think that could really just, it's such an awesome part of the game that if they could get that right, even if it's reducing the amount of skills that you see on screen when it's just absolute chaos, because it doesn't matter, you know, there's so much going on, or reducing the quality of people's armors and skins, so it's a lot less things going on. I don't know what I'm talking about, but just you know.
Yeah, we're armchair developing for sure. But your points make sense. Like, is why do I need to see a you know, certain spell effects at the highest level possible when we're 50v50? I'm sure things like that obviously help with the optimization. But dude, you know, it's one of those things, like, now desync has been pretty poor, or, you know, it's, I guess there's been a lot of desync in like Outpost Rush and wars and stuff like that. And what's I guess the encouraging part is I have seen the game perform at a high level in large group, you know, scaled things. So it makes you know, or at least think, that it is possible for them to achieve that high level performance in these. And I think the game definitely requires that for it to be good at the things that it's good at, which New World is great. Those 50v50s, when they're functioning correctly, are amazing, dude. They're a ton of fun. Outpost Rush is a lot of fun when it's performing properly. So I think it's important for them to figure out that. And great, the good thing about this, again, this is kind of, I guess, like becoming a theme. They already have announced in February they are dedicating that time to optimization and bug fixing. So it seems like we're going to get that wish as well.
Fingers crossed, man. Yeah, if they manage to pull it off and the big scale battles turn out to be smoother than what they are, I think so many people would come back to the game and enjoy the game more, because the people I've spoke to love that large scale combat. And even if you don't, seeing hundreds of people battling it out, you know, it's just a sight. It's awesome. It's truly awesome. So yeah, it'd be fantastic if they managed to pull it off and smooth it out. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And I do think that was deserving potentially of the top one, because for the game to be, what it could be, the performance has to be good. You know, I think a lot of MMOs have really struggled with that in the past. And it's something that I think is important as a player, and I think as as people that want to make successful games. I think that needs to definitely be in line, or be at the peak of its potential performance. So the last one, dude, and this, like I said, the optimization was a really close second, but this one that we kind of thought about for the number one thing we would like to see in New World is more accessible instanced PvE content, which is like raids, obviously, more accessible expedition systems. I think, Danny, from my experience, I'm covering MMOs for a long period of time. Dude, this is the number one feature that everybody wants to see, is challenging PvE content. And I think, you know, New World obviously has the mutation system coming out, so that's kind of another thing that they have already said that they're going to address. And I look forward to what that looks like. But dude, one of the other things that's important, I think, to people is the accessibility of it. The expeditions right now are insanely hard to get into. You basically have to farm portals, for hours on end just to run a 30-minute dungeon. And so it's like, PvE content is, again, the most popular feature in any MMO. I know that a lot of PvP people disagree, but the numbers or the facts are out, boys. The MMO has been a genre for 20 years. Like, people like PvE content. They like to be cooperative in completing challenging content, and I think New World definitely could benefit drastically from a raid system and more accessible dungeons.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I'm assuming I can speak for a lot of the PvPers that we actually, people who enjoy PvP don't mind PvEing to PvP. It's actually quite enjoyable to do the dungeons and knowing that at the end of it, you may get a new piece of gear that you can take out and fight with, with other people. So having great PvE content to then end up doing great PvP content really does go hand in hand, and they are doing a good job of it. They just need to, I think, maybe rethink the way the dungeons are done. Like people like us, I do dungeons, and I have people in the clan that sometimes do 10, 15 a day. Like they can do it, and it is possible, but it's not possible to everybody. It's possible to a lot of people that have a lot of time. So maybe the mutations when they release the keys will make this much more accessible to everybody. But I'm excited to see that. Slightly off topic, with the raids and things. I think it'd be awesome to have the instance content. I think it'll be huge to the game. But coming from the Guild Wars background, I think I briefly touched on it before. Having these events that are in the open world, which goes back to number 2 of the optimization. If optimization's done, having these incredible world events that pop up, that are 50, 60 people big or even larger, where maybe a massive corrupted monster spawns and you have to kill him together with other factions. Things like that I would love to see come into the game alongside, the awesome group raids and instance content. I think would be just awesome to see in New World.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's kind of, I guess, been proven a little bit in the life of New World so far is open world, like large group situations, not always work out the way you would hope. I mean, like, I'm on the biggest server right now in the NA, or the top 2, Eden, and every day, twice a day, 200, 300 people get together and they literally break the Shattered Mountain. And it's like, everything's in slow motion. No one's killing anything. It's like, it's just obviously not what the developers intended for that zone. So, Danneh, I would definitely like to see some now that we've kind of experimented in that group, and not to say that they shouldn't do more open world PvE. Like, I love the open world PvP in New World, but I definitely think the game would benefit for the people that want challenging content to move it to an instanced standpoint.
Yep.
All right, all right, Danneh. Well, it's been fun, man. These are, again, as our top 5 things we want to see in New World. Let us know if we missed something or something more that you would want to see from New World in 2022. Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscription button, the notification bell for more New World content like this. And me and Danneh, dude, we'll be back in soon, dude. Maybe tomorrow. We don't know, dude. We record these, and who knows when they're coming up. So. But yeah, thanks. We appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.